just remember sat on the curbside waiting for my mum to pick me up. Like 2 days after we've just won the league and I'm sat there, I'm hungover. That championship to me probably meant just as much, if not more, than the Premier League.
Really? I think it is the greatest Premier League story ever. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Tea With Timbsy. Today I am joined by a very special guest, Premier League winner, Marc Albrighton. Marc, my boy.
How are we doing?
How are you, mate?
Yeah, all
you
good.
Thank you so much for coming on.
No, thanks for having me.
No, I appreciate it. You're looking so well, mate.
Oh, I feel great. I feel
tan.
great. Yeah, I just feel relaxed now. Retirement's just got me relaxed.
This is what happens when you hang your boots up for football. You just like suddenly, just no stress.
Yeah,
you're just chilling.
Don't know what to do with myself.
What, you just been on holiday?
Yeah, just got back from Tenerife. Yeah, me and my mate went to Tenerife.
Beautiful.
Didn't realise it was loads of people go to Tenerife to watch Cheltenham. So,
what?
Yeah, crazy. Apparently it's cheaper. So like loads of groups of lads there going and watching Cheltenham in Tenerife.
On the TV?
Yeah, on the TV. But like in all the gear, like the big fancy dress. Mate, honestly, it looks unreal.
Did you go? You bring a suit?
Do you know what? We was going like dead chilled. Like we was going like for a bit of a chilled few days.
Yeah.
But yeah, got there and like nearly got sucked in.
That's great. First off, it is Tea with Timbsy. You're having a tea. You're a cuppa man. You like your tea?
Yeah. Yorkshire Gold tea. That's my go-to.
It's very specific, isn't it?
Yeah. I think, do you know when you find a certain tea, you don't want to change. Like I'm scared to change now. But like my first cup of tea in the morning, like, as soon as I wake up, that's like I have to do it. So the first thing I do, I let the dog out. Like right.
Was this like when you every day when you like go into the training ground, tea with your breakfast?
I had to get up sort of 20 minutes before I usually would, just to have my cup of tea before I left.
Okay.
And then I'd have a coffee when I got to train.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, the pre-workout before.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Nice. There's so much to talk about with like your career, your journey and stuff. Obviously, I feel like I just want to start at the beginning from the Leicester team that you were in, that you were played such a big part of in like a lot of your career. Because it's coming up on the 10-year anniversary soon. Next year. The Premier League. Any big plans for that?
There has to be something in place. Like we've had this group chat for ages, probably since then. It's called Reunion 2026. So there has to be something that's going to get planned. I don't know what it is yet.
With all the boys that were in there?
All of them.
Oh,
like everyone's in the chat. So like N'Golo, Riyad's in it. Like obviously Vards is in it. Wes, like everybody's in it from that squad.
And is there still just like you all throwing a bit of banter just every few weeks or months just to remind yourself?
Every now and again, like something just gets chucked in there. But I remember it went for a spell. Obviously, N'Golo Kanté left. It went to Chelsea. So it just felt like everything that was getting put in was congratulations, NG. Congratulations, because he won like the league again. He won the Champions League, the World Cup. Like, congrats again. Just congrats on your career, mate.
What are you doing now? Just fighting for survival again?
Yeah, just stayed up actually, yeah.
And then you get like a Riyad Mahrez selfie from a private jet in Saudi. Everyone's doing all right.
And here I am. Don't know what to do with myself.
Okay. So what are you doing at the moment? Since you've hung up your boots, you're getting into the media stuff.
Yeah, just to be honest, I went into a little bit of coaching at Villa for a bit, and I always said I never thought coaching was for me. And I went in at Villa and just didn't get on with it. Like just a couple of reasons.
You didn't think it was for you?
Nah, I think I probably went in with the mentality that I'm going in just to try it and see if I like it. But I half knew even before that it weren't really sort of my bag. But,
okay.
And yeah, just so. I probably went in too early as well. So I'd literally just finished playing.
Yeah.
And obviously the commitment of a coach is more than the commitment of a player.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing that I retired for was just to have that bit more freedom.
Yeah.
So it took all that away. So I'm just trying to just sort of take a little bit of time off now. I've got three daughters, so they take up a lot of time. And then just trying to fit in little bits of punditry and commentary and that here and there.
Because I know like as people come to like the end of their career, a lot of the boys, they start like doing their coaching badges. You never really thought of?
No, well there was a group of us. So Brendan Rodgers got us on a course with the PFA to do our B licence when he was at Leicester. So the group of us started it. We did all the theory, and then COVID struck, so we couldn't do the practical side of it because we couldn't get like the academy lads to do it with. So and then once everything opened up again, and we then got into Europe, so we was playing like twice a week most weeks, and it was just like the schedule was so busy.
Yeah.
So I just never picked it back up. Some of the lads did, some of the lads carried it on, and then some of us just sort of let it just dwindle out.
Well, now it's fine. You're doing your media stuff. It's a bit more cushy. You can, as you say, you can.
It is,
relaxed,
I did like. Don't get me wrong. Like I went in at Villa, and it was good to be back there. Like seeing a few, like a couple of old faces that are still there, and just like we were based, like the academy coaches were based in the same office that I used to go and get tellings off from, like my youth team coaches. So it just brought it all back a little bit. So a bit of reminiscing, but I just realised pretty soon that it weren't for me. And
well, fair. That's a nice full circle moment. Like you start your career at Villa, and then you kind of end it, and you realise as well, it's like this ain't for me, mate.
I'm glad. I'm so happy I tried it though. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Because I think it's just a standard question that people ask. You know, when you retire from football, they'll go, any coaching plans?
Yeah.
Like, it's just a standard question.
Yeah.
So I can say, like, now I can say,
No.
I tried it, not for me.
Well, it probably is like, it's an acquired taste in it for people, because I'm guessing not everyone's cut out for it either. Like, as you said, maybe the hours or the dedication, but also like maybe the brain for it as well. Like the if they're that kind of way wired. Were there any players that you kind of played with where you thought you can tell they're going to maybe go for being a coach?
Yeah, I think the one, and he's actually like, he started doing it now, he's Andy King.
Oh, so, okay, Kingy
at Leicester. And I knew he would go into it. He played for as long as his body would let him. And then he went into the coaching side of it with Leicester. I knew he was doing a little bit at Bristol when he was there, but he went in at Leicester, got an academy job, and then quickly sort of transitioned, and now he's with the first team coaching now under Van Nistelrooy. So he's certainly one that I looked at and I thought, you'll definitely be a coach. Just the way he comes across, how he gets on with people, his relationships,
gets that enthusiasm for it.
He's brilliant. Like he's so good. Like he could just get on with anyone, and I think that's so important when you're a coach.
Yeah. And then also, before we get on to Leicester, I can't wait to chat about Leicester. Did the end of your career, that decision, was that like an abrupt thing, or did you already know, you're like, you know what, at the end of this season I'm gonna?
I never totally made my mind up until sort of after the season had finished, and so I weren't 100%, but I'd say I was 95% sure that that's what I was going to do, probably from probably October, November time that season.
And what is it that comes in your mind there?
So
like why?
Yeah, there's a few reasons really. I think the main one, like I was going through something like in my personal life. I was going through a divorce and stuff, and seeing the kids was really hard.
Okay.
And like just trying to find time and a schedule where I can just go, right, I can have my kids on these days. And then I was coming home from training, I was absolutely shattered. Then I was looking after 3 kids on my own, and like didn't have the energy for them. And I just thought, I don't need to. If I don't need to do it, then why am I doing it? Like let's just park that. And then obviously, because we then won the championship, go out on a high. My contract had finished anyway, so I was like, my options were sort of up and down the country or abroad, and just weren't practical with the kids. So I'd probably say that was the main reason. And I think even now, like I don't miss playing at all, which tells me I've made the right decision.
That's so. I always thought like players would miss it. You know,
I've spoke to like a few people that have retired. Some recently, some like a few years ago, and it's so mixed. Like,
really?
Yeah, speaking to someone the other day who retired the same time as me, and he put it off for 3 or 4 years because he was like, he just loved it so much. That was his life. Like just committed to it, so committed to it. And that's how he that was his identity. I'm just a footballer.
Yeah.
Whereas now, like I feel like he's doing well and he's found something else and he's okay. But for the first few months, it was really hard for him.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so you've made the right decision.
Yeah, I feel like I have. Yeah. I don't get me wrong. I still love having a kick about, like a bit of five-a-side, bit of Sunday league and that. I just love having a kick about with my mates.
It's great you're playing Sunday league now.
I don't think you can ever get away from like just like loving playing football.
Yeah.
But the pressures and the commitment that comes with that top level is it just takes you takes the rest of your life away.
Yeah. Understated how much work goes into it, you know.
I think it is, yeah, like the travelling and the training and everything. And it's even worse now because when I started out, when I was at Villa, Martin O'Neill was the manager.
Yeah.
And you'd go in and you'd have to be in for 10 o'clock for a 10:30 start. You'd go in, warm up, little boxes, 3 10-minute games, and then you were done. So you were done by literally
Really?
12 o'clock. You was
Wow.
you was out the building. I was home. I lived 10 minutes away.
It's a breeze, mate.
Oh, mate, it was so easy. And then we had Enzo Maresca last year, and it was the complete opposite.
Really?
Like, complete opposite. I was getting home at like 4:30. And then, like, obviously, I'm not asking for sympathy now.
No,
4:30,
of course.
It's not,
Yeah.
it's not late, but it was just like chalk and cheese, and you had
Yeah.
to be in early. You was having meetings after training. And,
Yeah.
it was just so intense.
Yeah.
So intense.
Wow. I guess the like, it's almost like every year football becomes even more important, and there's like so much more at stake, and there's more money, whatever. So like naturally, I feel so much more stuff is put into it, like because it means more and much more is at stake. You need to work harder and work harder. You know?
I think there's so many more managers now that are sort of doing that, and all the meetings, and like you look at like how Pep's trained sort of certain managers that are now going on and doing things at the top level. And I think if other managers are looking and going, right, okay, well, if they're doing that, I need to do that.
Yeah.
So I think everybody's sort of following suit.
Yeah. Pep's ruined it for everyone. Yeah,
Everyone, he's ruined my 12 o'clock finishes.
As an Arsenal fan as well, he's ruined it for me. He's ruined it. So, we'll get into the dream story that is Leicester winning the Premier League. You were a massive part of that. Because, honestly, I think it is the greatest Premier League story ever. We'll start at the beginning with the season before, because that was like the great escape that I think a lot of people forget about, because obviously the following season was such an amazing thing. The great escape, you were, was it bottom of the league up until like well into the year? It was like April or something. And then you went on this mad run. It was like 7 wins in your last 9 or something.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that like going into the tail end of the season and escaping? Like, what are the emotions that you're going through there?
I've said this a few times. Like, obviously, when I was at Villa, like we didn't win anything in my time at the Villa.
Yeah.
So when we stayed up that year, it was like winning a trophy.
Yeah.
Like the euphoria of that day that we actually nailed ourselves in the Premier League the following year was like just it was like winning a trophy. It was the best feeling. So obviously at that point we didn't know what was to come like the following year.
Yeah.
So I think everyone had writ us off. I think at Christmas time, like we were dead and buried. Even with like 10 games to go, we were done. And then it's hard really to put my finger on what changed. Like there was a change of formation and that probably helped, but we hadn't actually been playing bad that season.
Okay.
Like we was always in games. We'd lose by the odd goal and just couldn't get a win over the line.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden that just sort of flipped on its head, and I think we played West Ham and beat them 2-1, and that was like the catalyst to then go on and go on this crazy run towards the end of the season, and played West Brom, come from behind to beat them 3-2. Vard scored in the last minute. And then all of a sudden we're in the dressing room going, right, okay, this is on. This is on. Like we're well and truly in this survival race. And then in the end,
He was quite comfortable by the end.
I think we finished 14th.
Yeah, you really mad.
Beat QPR like 5 or 6-1 the last day of the season. Like amazing.
Yeah. The lines must be so fine, right? Between, as you say, like weren't playing that badly, but then a mistake here and there, or like a decision that didn't go your way versus did go your way in the last 9 games. Like in the Premier League, they must be such tiny details that can mean the difference between a win and a draw and a loss. You know.
I think like that's exactly true. But I think momentum is like one of the most important things in football. I think
really
people don't really notice it too much. But I look at, so obviously us then, we've carried that momentum of staying up to go and win the league.
Yeah.
Then the year that we got relegated, like momentum was the complete opposite, and we couldn't find a win.
Okay.
And then last season getting up, like the momentum was good for it. Like we were just going on a run of wins. And I think once you find that momentum, like I don't know, it just carries you a lot, and I think that is true as well. Like when you're down there, you feel like you're not getting any decisions, but then like when you start winning a few games, you feel like, oh, like got lucky today, like penalty or whatever it is. But yeah, I think momentum's massive in football.
And you just rode that wave to the nth degree for your Premier League. You know.
Yeah.
So going into that season as well, so you survive, you obviously finish on a high, and then but it's pretty much with the same team going into the next season. I mean, the difference is crazy to go from surviving to then winning the Premier League. Going into that season, were there any expectations of like, we actually should do better, or is it still, let's make sure we survive first?
I think the main objective was to stay in the league.
Yeah.
But none of us really thought we were going to go down.
Okay.
Because we had done so well the season before in that final period. And even throughout the season, like I say, we weren't bad.
So there was a blueprint there that you were like...
Yeah. So we was quite confident that we would be able to stay in the league, or was very confident. But in terms of like anything higher, I think it just goes to show how lesser confidence we had in ourselves. Like we only negotiated the bonus schedule for up to, I think it was 8th place that season.
Really?
So anything above 8th place, it was just the same as if we was to come 8th.
So you won the Prem and didn't get any more money than if you finished 9th?
No, so obviously like that, I think that goes to show the
expectations going into that season.
Of what we had.
I mean, going through the team, you had Casper at the back, you had Danny Simpson, Huth, Wes, Fuchs, yourself, Drinkwater, Kanté, Mahrez, Vards, and
Shinji Okazaki.
Yeah. So like that team basically playing every game, and that run you were on up until Christmas, basically, when you were top. Did you think like, nah, we deserve to be here, or was it like almost disbelief of like, wait, we're top of the league here, Vardy scoring 11 and 11?
Yeah, do you know what? I think it sounds crazy to say, but we weren't really taking it serious. Like,
really?
Like, honestly, because of the group of lads that we were.
You know?
Yeah. It's going on champagne, pizza making classes and stuff like that with Ranieri. Because of the group of lads that we had, and I've said this a few times, like I would never have wanted to experience that with another group of lads. Like that dressing room was just incredible. Yeah, because of the group of lads that we had, we'd laugh about it, like top of the league, top at Christmas, just laughing. But I think obviously as it got closer and closer, then you start going, oh, hold on a sec, like we could be playing Champions League next year.
Yeah.
And then like you start ticking things off, right? Secured Champions League. Now we're in a title race. Like can and you start looking at dates, right? When can we actually win the league? What is the earliest date that we can actually win the league?
Yeah.
Because we was just on a high, like it was just winning games, and it's just so enjoyable to come off the pitch. We was going into the games thinking, I will win this one.
That is unbelievable.
That's the only time in my career that I've had it.
Really? Yeah, you go in and you're like, no, we are going to win.
Yeah.
That must be so powerful as well. Like for a bunch of guys together, where there's proof of how well you've played and all of these results against like big teams as well. You're like, nah, we are winning this today. It must be so good.
City have had that for about 6-7 years. Imagine that.
Finally, they're going, what, we'll take a year off.
Yeah.
I want to go the Vardy 11 and 11 thing. And you were a big part of that as well. A lot of assists in there. What was that like when who was it? Fuchs gave the ball in. Vards came onto it and just slotted it in.
So that game was like special. Like that game was even before it, because we was doing so well, and then like we was challenging, and then there was this added extra on the side of it. Against Manchester United at home, like it was an evening game as well. So under the lights, like it was live on TV. There was just another buzz about it. Like most games, like you'll go into, like you do the warm up, and everyone's sort of taking their seats and that. Whereas I felt like that one was different. Like you're in the warm up and you can tell there's something extra on it. Like the fans are like a buzzing, and it was so special. But I think going into the game, obviously Vards is looking for this goal, but I think there was a few of us that were like desperate for the assist. Desperate for the assist, because we know that goal is going to be shown for years and years to come. So it was desperate for the assist. And then the manager said just in the dressing room, he was like, obviously, first and foremost, we're going to win the game, but let's all like come together. Let's help like Jamie break this record.
Unreal.
And managers don't really say that, don't usually say that.
I was about to say, it's kind of, in my eyes, the first thing they would say is like, fuck the record.
Yeah.
We need to win this
the game.
That's
it.
That's unreal.
But
that Claudio
everybody
did that.
was on board with it as well. Like everyone was desperate for him to do it because he'd done so well. And so then when it actually happens and Christian plays the pass through and he gets on the end of it, like that. Because I think that put us 1-0 up. Yeah. So the place just erupted. Like it was just,
so
it was so special. You just couldn't wait, like sprinting over to celebrate with him and just getting involved. And
Vards as well, just the sellies as well. Like all of it is so iconic. Looking back now, because it's shown all the time.
Yeah.
Vardy, his little wrist brace thing, like the celebrations and like him running around the stadium. I would love to know when he's on that run as well. Was it after he secured the record? It was just almost back to business of like, okay, let's keep, we're up there now, let's keep the win. Like, it's not about, oh, Vards, let's get you 12, let's get you 13 sort of thing.
No, I think after that, obviously, even before, like, it was very much a case of, right, we need to keep winning, keep that feeling going. I just think it was the Newcastle game before that when he equalled the record at St James's Park. I think that game and the Man United game, there was just something added extra on it. But even throughout that period, it was very much as well just right, keep winning.
At what point did you lot feel we can actually win the league here? Because it's maybe a bit different from when you're top of the league. It's still December, like as we've seen with so many teams, Arsenal included. Like it's a long way to go, and you can fall off in Jan, in Feb, in March or April even. Yeah. So like, at what point did you think like, no, we actually are fully in this? Like we can win the league.
So most people talk about the Man City game. That gets brought up quite a bit at the Etihad.
I mean, you tore into shreds.
Yeah, like
Riyadh was a joke. Then
this is the like talking about momentum and going into games like confident. Like you never ever, you shouldn't go into a game at the Etihad against Man City thinking we'll win this game, we'll be alright today. Whereas we did that day, like we just had something about us where we'd turn up and we'd be like, yeah, we'll be fine today. Like, and I can't, like every time that I've gone there, like before that, it was right. Let's keep this down. Let's keep this score down. But a lot of people talk about that, and don't get me wrong, that was like huge. That was massive. But during that spell, so we had Liverpool, Man City, and Arsenal all after each other. And Ranieri said, if you get 9 points out of the 3 games, you can have a week off. Because I think it was like FA Cup weekend, the following weekend was out, or it was international break or something. So it was like, you can have a week off, and a week off to a group of footballers, like a day off to a footballer is like,
it's a holiday.
It's better than money, better than any gift. Or so a week off was huge. So it was like a massive incentive. So obviously we beat Liverpool at home. We beat City, so we're going to the Emirates
and I
against
remember
Arsenal.
This game, yeah.
We've gone 1 up early on, and then second half, and Simo got sent off, and it was like, it was a dubious one, and
it was soft.
Yeah,
it was soft.
Yeah,
I'll give you that. It was soft.
2 yellows, and then they go on, equalise, and then and get the win out. Well, it was. So like we're going in and. Like we're devastated, like we're absolutely gutted because we feel like we did so well in the game. So then the manager's come in and he said how proud he was of us and how we played and stuff. And he just said, I'm gonna give you that week. He says, go and take that week, get yourselves away, switch off from everything, ignore like the media, take yourselves away from all the hype and stuff, and just go and switch off. So everybody jumped on a plane, everybody got off like Dubai or Tenerife, wherever they was going. And then we come back a week later and everyone was so motivated to then, right, let's go now then. We just refreshed our minds, and I think we went on to win the next maybe 7 or 8 games, and it was like 1-0. Like I think we drew 1 game in there, but the rest of them like just went up 1-0. And everyone was just so motivated from that point. So that for me was crucial and like a bit of genius from the manager.
Yeah, that is so weird that like it's not after a big win, it's actually after a big loss.
Yeah.
That you all got together and were like, nah, we can win this.
Because even though we'd switched off we took ourselves away from the hype of it all, because there was like obviously a lot of media interest. We were still messaging in the group chat, and just sort of saying, lads, like, this don't derail us, and like we carry on going.
Your minds
like,
were still on it almost.
Yeah. Like, enjoy our breaks, and we'll come back and we'll go again.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like, you go on a week's holiday, and I think you are excited to come back with your mates, because that's what they were like. It was just a group of mates. So we was excited then to come back after that week and just be together again and go again. Like, incredible.
That's so
like, amazing.
good. And then obviously going on that run, what was one of your favourite moments on a personal level? You as a team, you've got so many highlights, but as on a personal level, like, was it a goal, was it an assist, or was it a collective moment that you really liked?
It probably would have been the I'd say that City game, like, that's probably one thing that I would say, like, as much as I don't think that was the main thing or the main time that I started believing we could win it. We walked off that pitch after, and we got a standing ovation by like the whole of the stadium.
Yeah.
Like, and I've never had that before anywhere. Like, for the whole crowd just to appreciate what you had just done and what you were doing. Like, it was amazing. Like, obviously at City as well, just made it so much better. So I'd say that was probably the main one. And then obviously when we could have won the league at Old Trafford, the day before we actually did win it, that, like, waking up that morning and just getting out of bed going, right,
this is the day
I can like win the Premier League. Like, that feeling, the excitement, and at somewhere like Old Trafford as well, like, it would have been the pinnacle. But obviously I wouldn't change a thing, but if there was one thing that I look back, I wish we'd won it on the pitch.
So like, then you could have lifted it at Old Trafford.
Yeah, or just been on the pitch when it was just like, just been on the pitch and just been able to celebrate. 'Cause obviously, I'm sure we'll touch on it later, but the FA Cup, when you're actually on the pitch and the full-time whistle goes and you realise you've won something, it's the best feeling.
The best feeling, man. Oh, that's so good. For you as well, you said, like, you at that point you still didn't believe, like, oh, we can or we will win the Premier League. At what point did you think, okay, we are winning the Premier League now? Or was it's not, in your head, you can't believe that until you've done it, just because?
Yeah, it was when we'd done it, because I remember watching Tottenham the week before, and they played Stoke away, and obviously...
Oh yeah, because they were second, they were in the run.
Yeah. So Stoke away is a tough game. So I remember watching them, and I was thinking, like, this could set us on our way, and then, like, we've got, like, a massive chance to go and win it then. And I remember just sitting there, and Tottenham absolutely destroyed Stoke. I think it was like 4-0. I think Harry Kane might have got a couple, or it might have even got a hat-trick. And I just remember sat there thinking, oh my God, they're taking us to the wire here. Even though we had like a little gap, we're still a bit nervous. Because I think a lot of us felt like we're never going to be in this position again. So we can't afford to sort of let it slip, like just let it sort of pass us by. So that's when the pressure started, when we was actually in the title race, because the pressure was from ourselves, like, because that's what we wanted to achieve for ourselves. But yeah, like, obviously I remember Tottenham beating Stoke, and then so even when they played Chelsea, I was thinking Tottenham, like,
they could do it. Yeah,
and then they go 2-0 up, and you think, like, right, okay, we gives us more work to do, so you can't take our foot off the gas, and you, at that point you just want it wrapped up so you can just a sense of relief.
Yeah, right. So we've moved on to the Battle of the Bridge here, and this is one of the most, like, infamous games ever in the Premier League. Obviously because it helped you win the league, but also it was just a bonkers game. Yeah. And I remember the videos that came out of all of you watching together. What was the story behind? Was that round one of your houses, or?
No, so I think it was only that day, and Vards had said, whoever wants to come and watch the game at mine can come. There's going to be cameras there or whatever to capture the moment. I'd say it was like a 60-40 split. So like 60% of the squad did go, and then 40% were going, I want to watch it with my family, or I want to watch it at home. And
which I can appreciate as well.
Yeah, so I was one of them. Like, I felt like...
Oh, you weren't even there?
Nah, I weren't to start with.
Okay.
So, I was like, okay, my mum, my dad, like my kids, my sister, like they've all been on this journey with me, like all the way through. I want them like next to me.
Yeah.
When like if this is to happen, I want them there. Like I want
Yeah.
that moment with my dad, like hug my dad and like.
You make me cry, mate.
So I was like, I need to watch it at home. So and Casper was the same and Chile as well. And at half time, it's obviously 2-0, and my sister was like, right, I'm gonna get my kids back. They've got school tomorrow because it's a Monday night. That like, they've got school tomorrow, so I'm gonna get the kids back. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. I was like sort of down in the dumps as well. But where I watched it in my house, it was like this is my old house. Had like a little cinema room, and all my shirts were up there, and like players that I played with and against. One of them was Kyle Walker's top from like when I played against him.
Was it City or Spurs?
No, Spurs.
Spurs, yeah.
So I had this Tottenham shirt on the wall, and somebody that was round, like I had a few mates around, and somebody that was round says, "You need to take that down." And this was at half time. You need to take that shirt down. So ended up taking the shirt down. So it's just a screw in the wall there now. And obviously it goes on, like we go on and because he was obviously playing in the game. Yeah. But then we go on and win the game, and that's something I remember vividly from that night. But yeah, so final whistle goes, like have all the embraces with like my family and my friends, and the kids are sprinting around, like just no idea what's happened really because they're so young, but just excited because everyone else is excited. I says to my mum and dad, I says, take me to Vards' house. So I've phoned Vards, I've got like, what's the plans here? And he was like, get here, like just get to my house. So I was like, right, okay.
Oh my God.
So I jumped in my mum and dad's car, and they drove, it's like an hour and a half away, and they've drove me there. But I'm on the way, and Vards phones me, and he was like, listen, you can't get to my house because there's thousands of fans outside my gates and like lining the streets. So he says, come to, get yourself to the local police station, like the village police station.
Okay.
So I was like, right, okay, didn't ask any questions, and I was just on a high. So I got myself to this police station. I've walked in, and like in the waiting area of it, Ben Chilwell sat there with his dad. Like he'd obviously been told exactly the same.
Police station.
So we're in this police station. So anyway, this police officer comes out, and he's gone, right, we've got a police escort waiting for you to take you into like to Vards' house.
That's the best.
We've got this, me and Chile, like said bye to my mum and dad, and like again, like big hug, like just like dead proud moment. So got in the car, like this police escort, drove through like down the road through all the crowds. You got people banging on the windows, like scarves, flags, like just like everyone looking to see who it was. And got in the gates, people climbing on his fences and stuff. Like it was amazing. So we've got into his house, and this is the anti-climax bit, because I've got in his house, and because I was there sort of 2 hours after the final whistle, everybody sort of just calmed down a bit now. I'm replying to messages, so like the euphoria of it's gone. So I've missed out on it all. We had sort of an hour there, and then Casper, I think it was Casper that says, let's go into Leicester. Let's just get ourselves into Leicester. So his driver had brought him up that night and took a few of us into Leicester city centre, and we drove past the stadium where all the fans were, and seeing like thousands of fans outside there. We've got into Leicester, we've got like this area that overlooks like the dance floor, and even that, like everyone's just there in the Leicester gear and like the flags and scarves, and like we're just looking down, and it was absolutely amazing.
Mate, even that is like, sounds like a film.
Yeah.
You know, you get those true story films, like sport films, like Moneyball,
Yeah.
There needs to be like an actual Hollywood film about that, because it is that unbelievable that happened.
I wish we had like, I don't know if anyone's got it, but like I wish we had like more footage of like behind the scenes stuff and like that night, and just because it was just so special, but obviously nobody planned for us like to do that, so I doubt if there will be any anywhere. But I remember sitting, so I think it was, so we had to go into training the next day, but obviously like we didn't train.
All just got massages.
But the owner arrived. He was in London, I think, so he came to the training ground, met us on the training pitch. We had photos and stuff, and then he was like, "Right, let's go. I'm taking you all out for lunch." So he took us all out for like a celebratory lunch, and
nice.
I think I was we might have gone out again that night.
I wouldn't blame you, mate.
Yeah, I think we did. So I've stayed over, and then the following day, I just remember, obviously, because my mum and dad had dropped me over there in the first place. I was without a car or anything. So I remember I'd stayed at the Marriott, and I just remember sat on the curbside waiting for my mum to pick me up. Like 2 days after we've just won the league, and I'm sat there, I'm hungover, like I'm in the same clothes as I was. Like it was just, it was
I'm back
crazy.
to being 16 again.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was like. I just remember, and I think for the rest of that period, it must have been like 2 months.
Yeah.
It was just.
Was
constant.
it just straight? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is, your results to the end of the season weren't even that bad after
Nah,
that
they
as well.
weren't,
Like you
nah.
were just, you must
Yeah.
have been such a well-oiled machine by that point where it didn't even matter.
Yeah, I don't know about the Chelsea one. I know the Everton one at home, where that was the day we was lifting the trophy. The mentality was, let's not sort of take any gloss off this party. Like this is a bit of a carnival party celebration thing, if you like. Let's not take any gloss off it. Let's go out there, win the game, and then we celebrate.
Yeah.
Like we celebrate winning today and winning the league.
Unreal.
I think we stuck 4 past them that day. Like it was like crazy. And then just the trophy presentation after. Then like the open top bus tour. Like a few of the lads had, I think Riyadh got the PFA Player Award as well. So we all went down to London to the PFA Awards to be there with him, and just constant things that were just like ongoing in the background. Like it was amazing.
It must have been like a dream.
Yeah, it was.
And the Kasabian, you had that. Was it the Kasabian gig? Mate, those helicopter shots of that gig. And what park was it? It was like one of the parks.
Victoria Park, yeah.
Mate, there were so many people there. It was like Glasgow.
Yeah, it was.
And all for you.
Yeah.
Like, it's unbelievable.
So obviously I'd never been on an open top bus tour before, so I didn't know how it all works or anything. So we've got on the buses at the stadium, and there must have been, maybe 8 buses, like after each other. So you've got one for the players, then one for families, then like you've obviously got all the staff. But the first bit of it is like you have to drive to the city where all the fans are. So the first bit of it, there's no one on the streets and that, and like there's low trees and the stuff. So everyone's like duck, so you're ducking on the like crazy. But got there, and like the amount of fans, like I've never seen anything. I think there was 250,000 people like lining the streets, and
Unreal.
it was. We also went to Thailand as well after the season finished, and we had another open top bus tour there, where there was 1 million people in Bangkok. Like, lining the streets.
Days.
So it was like.
So the thing is, we didn't even see that. I remember like seeing you lot flying to Thailand to like celebrate, obviously because you're owner, right? But didn't see the 1 million fans there. Like, it's wild. Just
even like you get to the airport when you arrive, and there's just so many fans just like greeting you, and like just.
I won't ask you about Thailand, because that's for the boys it's like whatever happens to celebrate. That's
that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
But no, to be fair, like when we was there, don't get me wrong, it was party central. Like it was.
You just won the league. You do what you want.
Exactly. But we had to. Part of us being there, we had to go and visit like temples.
Okay.
So to be fair, we went to Thailand like a few times in my time at Leicester, and it was always a thing. Like in the mornings, you go and visit temples and look around temples, and so we was getting there. And if you see some of the photos of like us at temples, all of us like dark shades on, like people sitting down, like in the background. Like nobody wanted to be at these temples. Like everyone was just thinking, right, when's next drink? Like, when are we going again?
I would love to see those.
Like amazing. But then I got back from there, and I'd booked Vegas that summer. Just like I'd booked it with
regardless.
So I was going anyway. So I'd booked Vegas. So I literally got back from there, went Vegas. Oh, like my liver was causing all sorts of carnage. It was.
That is so. Just picturing like it reminds me of like those photos at the end of Hangover, like all of you lot hung over in temples in Bangkok, and you're all just. The funniest thing for me is picturing Jamie Vardy in sunnies at a Buddhist temple in Thailand. With probably a can of Red Bull, just like, what is this?
Well, you get like, so one of the main sponsors is Chang Beer. So
convenient.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Chang, it was just on tap. Like when it like, yeah, I swear, honestly, you'd get in the bus to go to this temple. So like, people, you've got the security knocking your door to get you up to go to this temple. Like you're so hungover. You got the security banging your door down. He's got a master key, so he's letting himself in, dragging you out. Like throw your tracksuit on or like your t-shirt and your shorts. You get on the bus and there's just like crates and crates of Chang, like, and it's just right next one.
Hair of the dog.
Like, incredible.
That's
like,
so good.
Amazing.
And in that team, I know like a lot of people would stick to like Kanté, Mahrez, and Vardy as being like the three just crucial players because Vardy scored all the goals, Mahrez was just unbelievable on the ball, and then Kanté was everywhere. But like for you, who was the most important player in that team for that season, or was it such a collective effort that you can't really pick anyone?
I think if I'm going to single anyone out, it would be NG, like N'Golo.
Okay.
I think he did a job that nobody else could do it. Like he was literally two men. Even if you ask like Wes and Houthi, like he took so much pressure off them.
Like, they were crucial as well.
They were
great goals.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong. Like I'd say it was a fully collective effort because everybody had their roles. Like Riyad was bombing forward so much, so my job was to sort of play more of a defensive role and balance it out. Obviously, Drinky complemented N'Golo. Even Shinji up front was absolutely immense for us. Like
he was like the Freddie Ljungberg, just like pops up with goals and just is a bit in between.
Oh, he was just a pest. Like he was such a pest to defenders, and like he'd hold the ball up, he'd like bring others into play. But even off the pitch, like his English weren't great, but he was the nicest guy and the best lad. Like he'd always try and get involved. He'd always like any sort of events that we did, whether meals out or whatever it was, he'd always be the first up on a karaoke. Like, he'd always be singing like some Japanese song. Like it was amazing. And then obviously the fullbacks, and then like Casper in goal. Like, was incredible.
I mean, it was kind of faultless from start to finish from all of you.
It was like, I think we just complemented each other like everywhere. Like Simo and Riyad had this like relationship. Like then there was Simo and Wes who was next to him. Like they had a certain relationship. There was me and Fuchsy down the left hand side as well that worked together well, and the two centre mids, and like everywhere, everyone was just like, there was relationships all over the pitch with people, and it just worked.
Just worked. Is that did that? How much of that came from like Claudio and his vision and his tactics and stuff, or was it kind of built off the previous year, obviously when he wasn't there, and he kind of just went through with it? And
so I think there was an element where it was built from the season before, but then I think the genius bit of Claudio was very much recognising what he had, like, and the players that he had, and what to do with them, and he literally just simplified everything for us.
Great.
He gave us sort of 3 or 4 like patterns of play, and right when the fullback's got the ball here, this is where I want you to go and move and pass. And so there was like 3 or 4 of them, like different options, and then defensively it was like, he used to call it a castle. So he'd like get back in the castle and he'd like draw it out and like draw a circle. This is how compact I want you.
Wow. And
like everybody just knew their roles. So there was no grey areas anywhere.
Obviously I know you're all very important, yourself included, like so important, basically played every game. I mean the fact that you didn't have any major injuries as well was wild. You were all so robust, and just, you know, if you could maybe point to like an underrated player who maybe people wouldn't credit or put up there with like he was super important, is there an underrated player you think in that squad or that team?
I'd say Shinji.
Okay.
Like Shinji would be the one, but as well, like I would say Shinji, and Shinji was like the most underrated in my opinion. But then we had Leonardo Ajoa, who used to come on for Shinji for the last half an hour, and it used to be like a regular thing, like 60 minutes, like that's it, Shinji off, Leo on, and it just gave us something else. And that season, he scored like some crucial goals, like a couple of penalties.
He was a handful, mate.
Such a handful, and again, great guy, and just So I would say the combination of the two of them, like that, worked really well with him coming off the bench and just giving us something else.
You've done relegation scraps, you've done championship wins, you've done Premier League wins, right? What do you feel is the most important thing going into like leading a title charge and stuff? For you, what did you find was the most important aspect of your team, or like the most important attribute?
For me, which we built it back then, I don't think you can necessarily do it as much anymore.
Okay.
But it was the bond that we had as players. So I look at that and I think, in my opinion, that got us probably 10, 15 points that season.
Okay.
Like just having that bond and being together and knowing, like everybody knowing that the person next to him is going to put the work in and he's not going to sulk if he's not playing. Or I think that's hard to do now because it's hard to get a squad where it's not a little bit cliquey. Whereas that squad was like everybody did. If you put a message in a group chat now of like a Premier League dressing room of, right, lads, we've got a night out this weekend, like team like bonding or whatever, then you'd probably get maybe 50% that would go to it. Whereas back then, every single player would be there. Yeah. And I think that said a lot about the group, and Casper speaks about it quite a lot. That was built at Leicester. That was built from the owner. Like the owner, he was the one organising the events. Like he was the one saying, right, lads, I want us all together. And it would be, the owner would be there, the players, all the staff, like every member of staff would be there. And he would do it in a way that like everybody just mixed with each other. So there was no hierarchy. Like there was no hierarchy there. Everyone was just on the same level. Yeah. So there was no egos.
Unreal. Because I feel like people heard a lot about how important the owner was. Do you feel like as well it was a joint thing of Claudio obviously doing the stuff on the pitch, but then Vishai doing the basically off the pitch and the kind of togetherness a little?
Yeah, because as well, I think you get some managers, and we probably had a couple, like in my time at Leicester, that never really took to that. Like even though they had to do it because the owner was saying, right, we're doing this, the managers weren't really on board with it.
They didn't buy into it fully.
Like whereas Claudio bought into it. It might probably shocked him a little bit at the start, but after that, and he's seen how much it impacted, I think he was well and truly on board with it. Yeah. And in the end, he just loved it. Like loved seeing the lads have a good time, and as long as you're turning up, this is the thing. Like it weren't like we was going out and then not showing up like for training and being at our best, because every single training session was on it. Like it was intense. It was like people just like dying for the cause, even in training. So it was. We just had both sides of it.
I feel like that aptly concludes the greatest period in Premier League history. We can move on to the following season. You go into a Premier League. I mean, it must have been, obviously it was a new experience for you, going in as defending champions. What is your attitude going into that season where like, do we have to defend this league and like we're now favourites, or like what was the expectations going into that second season?
Yeah, so I think it sort of showed with like our results that we was just focused on the Champions League. Yeah, like it was. Don't get me wrong.
You made waves in the Champions League. To be fair.
So our pre-season schedule would come out towards the back end of the previous season, and we was in like a tournament called the Champions Cup. Okay. So we was playing Barcelona, PSG, Celtic, and then we had right at the end of it we had the Community Shield. Yeah. So obviously like everyone's like wasn't playing the Community Shield at Wembley, and play against Barcelona, PSG, and was going to LA, and so I look and I think we weren't as prepared. Like every other pre-season that I've had, you go to Austria or Germany in the sticks in the middle of nowhere, like you can't even get a coffee, like, and you're training, grafting. But whereas this one, it was very much constantly travelling and playing against these top sides.
Does it feel more like exhibitions than because it's like
massively.
You're the Premier League champions, you have to almost parade yourself and play other big teams.
And I think that's the other thing as well. Like everywhere we went that pre-season, the trophy was coming with us. So like,
get over it, mate. It's old news.
Well, it worked out well, to be fair, because we was on the plane to LA. So we was playing PSG in LA, and we was doing a bit of training out there as well.
So is that against Neymar?
No.
You
so
didn't move by then.
Cavani was Edison Cavani played, and I remember looking at him thinking, oh my God, like you were sculpted, like I've never seen anything like it. Like
you're a gorgeous man.
Oh, beautiful. So we're on this plane to LA, and then word starts getting around it. Like we was in business class, and word starts getting around that Beckham's downstairs in first class. David Beckham. Like Beckham was my hero growing up. Yeah. So like all of a sudden, I was like trying to find out what's going on here. So Beckham's downstairs, like in first class. Anyway, one of our security guys like came up and says, "Look, if like David Beckham's downstairs is open to having pictures with like, he wants to have a big picture with like the Leicester winning squad."
Unreal, mate.
We went down like these stairs going down, and anyway, Casper was down there because obviously Casper will know him from when his dad played with him. Yeah. So Casper was chatting to him, and all of a sudden, sort of like a few of us just sort of like
your head round the corner.
We was just got involved in the conversation a little bit, and like it was just surreal. Like we were chatting to David Beckham, and he was asking about like the season like of winning the league, and ended up having a photo with like him and the trophy. So it just things like that was amazing. But so when I say like we was probably a little bit distracted, like
of course,
these are the sorts of things that kept sort of.
I mean, it must be so high, like, unless you're Man City players and you're used to winning the league, like, I guess that's part of the experience, is the fact that it's new and you have to soak it all in and whatever comes with it, of like, you know, having these little perks and these little pinch me moments, you know.
Like we're training and like Will Ferrell's on the side of the pitch, like doing something, and we're like, what? Like, so just little things like that just throughout that whole thing, and I think it just distracted from actually us preparing for that season. And then there was a lot of hype in our camp about the Community Shield because everyone wanted to play at Wembley. Yeah. Like everyone wanted to be on that stage. Like some of us hadn't played there before, so there was a lot of focus there. So then we've then got into the first game of the season and got beat, and then talk about momentum.
Resets you.
Yeah. And like, don't get me wrong, once the Champions League games come around, it was like we was up there again. Yeah. Like because we was just like the music comes on and you get all new training kit the week before, like different training kit to what you use.
You're training with the balls.
Yeah, these star balls and the cameras are there the day before watching you train, and if you're away, you're training at the pitch the night before. And just little things like this were just. It was like surreal and like pinch me moments.
Yeah, that's so good. It's so good to hear that as well from a proper like seasoned pro like yourself, who's like achieved so much, to still hear that like excitement for those things where like the novelty's not worn off on you. You know, you like, of course we're in the Champions League, we're fighting for the title every year. To like see and feel that excitement from you of like even playing with a proper Champions League ball in training and stuff, like it's so relatable, because I feel like that's what all of us would be like if I got to stand on the pitch and see the ball waving behind me on the centre circle and hearing the music, I would like, I couldn't believe it. It would be unreal.
So last week or the week before, I went back to Bruges. So obviously our first game at Leicester was with Bruges, but I went back to Bruges to watch Villa in the Champions League in their game against Bruges, and I was up in like with the fans in the top corner, and it just brought everything back. Like it brought everything back when the music come on. Like Did
you get emotional?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, because I was with my dad as well. Like and. That was the one so my mum and dad followed me everywhere in football, like from when I was like 6 to all the way through. And that's the one game that they missed. Like,
when you bagged against Bruges?
Yeah. Oh. So, like, my mum couldn't get the time off work, and then my dad was like, I'm not going to go on my own, and like, so he still holds her. Holds her to it now.
Because I was going to mention that. I was obviously like, massive thing as well is you scored Leicester's first ever Champions League goal. against Bruges, and then you score in the knockouts against Sevilla, and I was at that game, the one at home.
Yeah.
I was at that game because we followed that story obviously from the previous year when I was working at Copenhagen with Josh. We obviously covered it towards the end of the season and the whole of the celebration and stuff, but then the following season we were like, right, we need to, the next big story is them obviously featuring in the Champions League for the first time. So I remember we headed up to Leicester for that game when you got to the knockouts, and it was like, there was also, for me anyway, a genuine feeling of like, nah, Leicester can 100% beat Sevilla.
Yeah.
Mate, that for you must have been another just like dream moment where you're like, this is my life.
Yeah. I think, like, you know, I look back at that game now, I think it just had everything.
Yeah.
Like, it had everything. Obviously, Casper saves the penalty. Nasri gets sent off. Like, I've scored. Like,
I remember Nasri games.
With a headbutt. Like,
Yeah. Is
so
that Vard's having a little tickle?
yeah,
Is that why?
yeah. So, like, I look back at that and I just think, and obviously, like, you was there, like, you seen the atmosphere, like, and what that place just created. Like, it was absolutely incredible. I've never played in noise like it. Like,
Is that the best atmosphere you feel like you've played in?
Yeah. Obviously, don't get me wrong. Like, we away at Atletico after we'd gone through, and like so obviously the music comes on before, and they've obviously got something against UEFA or whatever it is, so they're whistling. I've never heard noise like it. Like, you can't hear them. I'm devastated because I just want to listen to that music again. But like, you can't hear it because the whistles are so loud.
Yeah.
And
It's proper European football. That,
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
reminds me of when I was a kid watching the Champions League, and whenever it's England, it's loads of roars and rah. But then whenever it's Spain or Italy, it's always the whistles. That got me.
Yeah, it
You know
is.
what I mean?
It is. So like, it was. Don't get me wrong. It was the best atmosphere I've played in. But then there's been other occasions where it's been good. Like, obviously even Premier League grounds and stuff like that are good. But I think because of the occasion that it was, it just made it so much better. The excitement and
so good.
And
I mean,
then
we can quickly battle off in terms of the other big games that you've played in and atmospheres and stuff. We'll go through. I mean, FA Cup, you won that like recently as well, which is quite sick. How was that for you as well, like playing at Wembley and winning the
So
oldest trophy in football?
yeah, that for me, it was amazing, because I was only saying to my daughter the other day, she had mentioned it for whatever reason.
What did I win? What did I win?
Yeah. You seen this picture? But no, so she had mentioned it, and I remember saying to her, because my daughter plays football now, and I remember telling her when I was younger, that was what I'd play, like Wembley singles, or even if I was like in the garden on my own. I remember going, and it's 1-1 in the FA Cup final, and it's all bright and clean through. And like, I remember doing all this stuff when I was like small in my garden. So obviously to then play in the FA Cup final, and I'd played in the games previous, like the FA Cup games and the league games, because we had like a few injuries. But then Johnny Evans declared himself fit, which pushed somebody out wide, and like knock-on effect. So he declared himself fit the day before the game. So Brendan pulled me the day before and just like had the hard conversation with me, and I was just like, I get it, like I understand it. Like, if Johnny's fit, Johnny plays, like because like, it's Johnny Evans. Yeah. But Johnny came up to me and he was like, just be ready, because I was like, there's every chance I can come off here.
Oh really?
So.
Oh, he knew full well. It's like, I'm not really fit. Like,
but obviously, if I'm him as well, like I'm doing the same. If I'm half fit, I'm declaring myself fit.
For sure.
Like FA Cup final. So we laugh about it after. Like, I came on for him after like half an hour. So he got the walkout and like the lineups and the start of it, and then I got to be on there at the end when the whistle goes. So like we were chatting about it on the pitch after, and just sort of embracing each other. It just worked out so well.
Oh, it's so good. And then also you won the championship as well. Did you win the championship, or was it playoff? You won.
Yeah, won it. Yeah,
won it. If you could just compare like that as an experience from like, you've had such high highs where you've won the Premier League, you've scored in the Champions League, you've won the FA Cup. Is it kind of comparable, that feeling where obviously the goalposts have kind of moved in a way where like it's winning the second division, not the first division? Like, do you still get like an amazing feeling from that?
I've spoke about this quite a bit. Like, in my personal circles, but that championship to me probably meant just as much, if not more, than the Premier League, because
Really?
I think it was because of the stage of my career. Like I
Okay.
knew that I was sort of bowing out a little bit. I think naturally, just in life as well, like as you get older, you appreciate things more.
For sure.
So I appreciated sort of the trophy lift, and Vard's got me down to lift the trophy with him and Ricky as well, which I appreciated. I came on at the end in the last game, got the captain's armband and little things like this. My kids are older as well, so they get it. So they was like on the pitch lifting the trophy, and open top bus tour, they're there on the podium and like on the balcony. And then obviously, like I mentioned it earlier, but like my personal circumstances, it had been like a horrible year. Like that had been an awful year as well, but that was my sort of release. So like that season, like you go in and put a bit of a brave face on, don't you? But like going in and just having something to show at the end of it after some like tough days that season was just incredible. Like that feeling of relief and some like I say, something to show for it at the end.
Yeah, it's unreal to even hear that like a win in the championship can mean as much, if not more than winning the Premier League or scoring in the Champions League knockouts and stuff. Like, it's just crazy how that can, you know.
Yeah, well, I think as well, like obviously the FA Cup one was, I really enjoyed that because we was on the pitch when we won it, as I said before. Obviously the Premier League win, I played every game, and then the Championship, I hardly played at all, like in the lead up to that, but I still class it as like the fact that I was there and I was like digging in, and I was there for the lads. I was supporting the lads from the sides when I weren't playing, and just meant so much to me.
Playing in like such a successful side, or different successful sides, right? And playing with some great players. Like for you, what would you say is like the difference between like your normal team player and then someone like, I don't know, N'Golo or Riyad, for example?
If you're going to win something, every team that wins something needs a couple of standout players. Like they have to have them. Like, so the season that Leicester came up in the first place, they had like Anthony Knockaert was like the standout player for them. Then obviously the year we won it, we had 2 or 3. Like obviously there's Vards and Golo, there was Riyad. Even like last year we had Abdul, there was Steffi Mavadidi, Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. Because there's going to be games along the way that have got 0-0 written all over it. So you have to have somebody that's just going to step up and like just take the game by the scruff of the neck and win it like on their own. And I think we had that even when we was going in like to the latter stages of games and it was like 0-0. We knew we had like a bit of an X factor, like somewhere, like whether it Riyad or Vards, that could just come up with a bit of magic. Riyad did it at Watford. It was 0-0, and the game was dead. Like it was boring. There was no chances. All of a sudden, he gets the ball, like a couple of step over, shifts it, scores. Like
out of nowhere,
win 1-0, go home, 3 points. Like, and it was just that we had that a couple of times.
Cheers, Riyad, mate.
Yeah, thanks for that. Win bonus. Brilliant. We'll take you out. Cheers. But yeah, so it was just like little things like that, like people that can step up when the game's like going down a certain way.
Yeah, because I'm guessing when you're in training as well, like you see that quality, but like everyone can show a bit. Yeah, you know what I mean, like when you're training week in, week out, or every day, you see what everyone's capable of. Is it probably that's the defining, the different thing where like doing it in a match at high stakes, or when, as you say, when the game's a bit dead. Just being able to replicate that quality in that moment. Yeah, because some people, like I've noticed over like my career, you get some lads that are unbelievable in training, but then don't quite do it on a game day. Whereas I take Vards for example. Vards, like especially now as well, like, but even through his career, he's not like the best trainer in the world. Like he's not good. Like every year he hasn't been like busting a gut in training week, like day in day out. Like especially as he's got older, he's had like days where he'll have extra recovery days and he probably won't train, or he'll be adapted like on adapted sessions. But like that's fine, because on a Saturday like he's going to turn up, like he's going to win a game for you. So training is important. Like don't get me wrong, training is important. I
absolutely loved training. Like that was
Yeah.
the best part of
Mate,
being a
it's
footballer
great.
for me. I used to love training, like the little five-a-sides that you do. Like training was the best for me. But I think some players just don't necessarily need to perform in training to go and perform in a game.
Yeah. Did Vard still smash like loads of Red Bull before training as well?
Yeah, it was a daily thing.
Oh,
It
right,
was a
okay,
daily
yeah.
thing.
It wasn't just because that's so. I love how like famous that got, where like especially that season, where it was the in the tunnel shot of Vards with a Red Bull.
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
He's gonna score.
Yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean?
exactly what it like. He's a unique character.
Yeah.
Like such a unique character.
Good guy.
Great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy. Such a nice fella. Obviously, he's portrayed as this like certain person in the media,
Yeah.
which
And he's like
I'm
a
not saying
troll, you know, he's a shithouse sort of thing. Yeah.
Which I'm not saying he hasn't got that side to him,
Yeah.
but like people don't see like another side to him as well, where he is like a family man as well, and he's brilliant with like even with my kids. Like he's great with my kids, and I sat next to him in the dressing room for years, and like just had some great laughs with him, and like just terrific person.
Last one, because I could talk to you forever and ever and ever about this because you're so interesting. But last one, you obviously played with some great players, but in terms of the players you played against over your storied career, who would you say like stood out? Because you've played against some unbelievable players.
Well, I've got one in mind, but it was a pre-season game, so I don't know whether it can count. Like,
Okay, well, we'll mention it and then we'll see.
Okay, well, Messi.
No, all right, yeah.
Yeah, so obviously Messi in
Yeah.
pre-season, but I'm not going to count that because it was a friendly. But no, the big one for me was Gerrard, Steven Gerrard. When I played against him, I didn't realise I was taken back of like how big he was, how powerful he was, and just how the ball just comes off his boot like it was just like poetry, like how he could strike a ball.
Yeah. Okay. Also, last one. Sorry. So I will end it. Sorry. But yeah, I will. No, I know, but like I will let you go home. But okay, even that, right? In terms of hitting a ball. So this is kind of what I was talking about earlier of like the different levels of like players you play with. You're like, now they're just a bit different. Is it just he hits the ball different? Or is it you can all hit the ball like that, but it's just that he does it on the pitch? I don't know.
It just had a different sound, like, and it was effortless. Like it
But
was
that
just
seems
like
so weird to me.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just so soft and like, honestly, like it was like just he like caressed the ball and it'd just go exactly where he wanted it. Like he could literally just miss the defender's head by an inch. Like it just like it teased the defender in. It was just like just amazing. But like even towards the end of his career, obviously he played that deeper role where he was just like a bit like a quarterback, and just seeing like his different range of passing, where even the ones that are going sort of 10, 15, like don't get me wrong, his long range was amazing, but even the ones that are going 10, 15 yards, he's absolutely wrapping that ball in. Like he's wrapping that. And he's expecting the players around him to deal with it.
Yeah.
Like, and if their touch is bad, then he's telling them.
Yeah.
Like, whereas he's hitting that ball so hard. Like, I don't really think I appreciate that until I was on the pitch next to him. Like, you see it on TV and you see, like, yeah, he's a good player, like, great player. But when you're actually on the pitch next to him, you see how hard he hits that ball.
Go
and
fucking hell.
That's
mad.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah,
like,
so
amazing.
Good. Also, people don't realise, I swear, like the professional footballs that you use, because obviously they do like the ones that you use, the match ones, but then Sports Direct or whatever sell the lesser versions, Actual professional footballs, they're so hard, but also kind of soft, where like, if you hit it properly, it's like...
It's got a padding.
It's
like
got a padding,
yeah.
But if you don't hit it right, it jars me ankle.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So like, but whenever I've done any like, I don't know, training days or Addy or Nike have put on a day when you use proper balls, I'm like, it's one of the things that always surprised me. I'm like, fucking hell, this ball is so hard.
Well, I've gone the opposite way. Obviously, I've played like a little bit of Sunday League now, so I'm using them like Sports Direct balls, and I'm going put a bit of air in that, like, and I'm like, what? So I've seen the other side of it, and you go to hit this diag, and you think, like I can hit that. It's fine, like loads of space over there, just put in an area. All of a sudden, like you hit it, and it'll just go like halfway down, just like dip. And I'm Like, what's happened there?
See, Mikel Arteta was right. They
He
are
was
different
right all
balls,
along,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
He got stick for that, but I'm sticking by my manager.
I'm blaming that for Sunday League. My Sunday League performances, like that's even worse.
Unreal, you're still playing. So if I turn up to a Sunday League game and you're playing, I'm going, what has happened here? You know what I mean? Unreal. Mark, thank you so much, man.
No,
Honestly,
no
I appreciate
problem.
it so much for this.
No,
As I said, I could have chatted for so much longer about all this stuff, but I can't wait the 10-year anniversary for the Leicester Premier League win. I'm sure something special is going to come out.
Yeah.
And when it does, I hope you enjoy it because you deserve it, mate. But I really do appreciate you coming on and chatting and stuff. It's been great.
No, I've loved it, mate. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. And also, we'll see you on TV, online a lot more.
Yes, hopefully. Yeah. Let's hope.
On TalkSport.
So. Yeah, if I get booked again,
Yeah. No, it's coming, mate. It's coming. But I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much.
No
mate.
problem at all.
Everyone, hope you enjoyed that. Leave a comment, leave a like. Let me know who I should get on next. They got to have won the Prem, so no, I'm joking. Everyone, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next episode. That was so
that was
good. I could do that. I could do that.